going on, everybody? Jay here from INCREDEVENT.com on the Incredible Events podcast. And these are some of the more fun podcasts I do. I love doing guest podcasts. I love doing the solo things where I'm just, having a chat with you guys. But I get to answer your questions sometimes. And this time I'm going to do the top 5 questions that we had in August. Okay. So, top 5 questions in August that we got from event planners on INCREDEVENT.com. Now, here's the thing about the top 5 questions. It's crazy to think that some of these were questions that people asked more than once and on a regular basis. But these are questions that we get to our customer service that it's kind of hard to give advice either way on an individual basis. But there are global concepts to these things that we can talk about. So why don't we jump in? Here is question number 1. All right, so the first question is a great one. What is the best promotional tool in 2023? So I would still say video, but a certain kind of video. It's called a sizzle reel. Sizzle reel videos are where you take the best of your message, the best of your footage, the best of your graphics, the best of everything, and you smash them together into a short video that will display to people probably in under a minute. It can be about a minute and a half if you need it to be, but I always suggest under a minute for this. It should be a video that makes people, one, it entertains, 2, it informs, 3, it is a leader, so it leads to a sale, it leads to a conversion, it gives the viewer the direction to buy tickets, to sign up, to go on the guest list, whatever it is. And the right video can sell the shit out of a show. Better than text, better than images, better than anything, really. And if you equip your people with a great video, your event pages with a great video, your promotional campaigns, your ads with a great video, if you can back it up, then you've got something there. I mean, I can tell you that with Fear, which was my last big event that I've done, it was a big Halloween event. You guys have heard me talk about it before if you've listened to the podcast or watched it. Fear was sold on 1 or 2 videos every year. The first year we did 1 video and it sold out off the video. Nobody looked at anything else. The second and third years were sold out off of 1 video, 2 videos. The 4th year we did it on many different videos. It's all we did was video campaigns. And the 5th year was sold on 2 videos. What we ended up doing was not just a sizzle reel, but because we knew we had a captive audience, we actually did a short horror film to advertise the show, which I thought was a lot of fun. It was a unique way of doing things. Would I do it every year? Probably not, only if the concept really allowed for it. But video is the number 1 marketing tool by far, but it's got to be a good video. You can't just put out, you see those videos, sometimes they're just like pictures with text on them. That's not going to work. You need to make someone feel something when they're watching the video. You need to make them go, oh man, I'd love to go to that. Or, wow, that looks cool. Or, oh my God, I need to be a part of that. Or my friend would love that. Or my family would love, whatever, whoever the audience is, the video needs to make an emotional connection between you and the audience. So do not skimp, okay? If you're having a show, I say video for all, every single show. Never do a show without video. Get a professional video editor. Now, there are lots. You can even go to colleges and you can get people are on the come up in their classes. Get a professional video editor and make sure that you're not using stock footage. I've made that mistake in my life too, right? Like, this whole podcast is about you guys learning from my mistakes and not making them. Don't use stock video footage in your video. Use footage from your events. And if you've never had an event before, then what you need to do is you need to put out a really short teaser that invokes emotion based on the pre-production of the event. So maybe it's an interview with the artist. Maybe it's an interview with the owner. Maybe it's talking about the scale of the production. Maybe it's going through the venue. Whatever it is, you need to make sure your video is on point and that you have a professional behind it. And do not skimp out on your MoGraph, which is motion graphics, okay? Very important that you have great motion graphics as well as a great editor behind your video, because the right video, paced out properly, working towards a goal of selling something with a conversion, with a CTA, that is key. It's key to everything, okay? So that I would say is the number 1 tool. All right, question number 2. To comp or not to comp, basically, is the question. So what we hear a lot is people are like, I don't want to comp tickets, give away free tickets. I don't want to comp the tickets because I feel like I've got a lot of value in my event. Here's what I'll say to that is, I mean, I remember feeling that way. I mean, I was super young when I started out in event planning, and I remember thinking that you were almost defeated by issuing comps, by issuing these free tickets to people. It's like, I'm kind of like, you should be buying this, right? But I've come to learn that comps are marketing budget. That's all they are. So don't give away comps just to give away comps. Give away strategic comps. So if somebody says, if somebody's in a contest, make sure the contest is has a way of pointing out very clearly to you who can benefit from getting the comp, but also who can benefit you from getting the comp, right? So I would much rather give a comp to somebody that has a network of 100,000 people on Instagram than 1,000. I mean, sometimes comps should all be goodwill, and it's great to give it to people that maybe wouldn't have an opportunity to go to your show regardless because financial reasons or whatever. But at the end of the day, what you want to do is you want to look at how can you maximize that comp? How can you turn that comp into a marketing opportunity? So for the person that has a very small following, what you can do is you can have a sincere conversation with them. Say, hey, you know what? Like usually we give away comps to people that have a large following. You don't, which is fine. What I would ask of you is, I'm going to hook you up. But I really would like you to make an emotional appeal to your people on your Facebook, your Instagram, whatever. Comps are one of these things where it's like, if you give out too many, it's gonna go south quick, right? But if you give out enough that you're using the comps to spread the word, then it's a great marketing expense. You should absolutely do it. When you think about it, you could get Facebook ads, right? Let's say you're paying, I don't know, $12 a conversion for a Facebook ad. Your ticket's at $25. So if you give out one ticket and that person brings 4 people, that person brings 2 people, you've now made your money, right? So the way I look at it sometimes is like with radio and TV, with all these different advertising means that we have, all these different promotional opportunities. One of the cheapest, most cost-effective, and one of the ways that gives you the most goodwill to your audience is to use comps for marketing. And question number 3, okay, it's going to be kind of about that, but a little bit different. So I hear this one all the time. This might be the most popular question that event planners have for us, outside of, how do I issue a comp? How do I do a print? How do I do a discount? Functional things. This is probably the number one. How do I deal with friends asking for free tickets to my event? If you have friends that are going to drive your traffic, cool. But if you have people that are just hanging on, this is a general business thing. This isn't just tickets. This isn't just events. If you have friends that are constantly coming to you for freebies but offering you nothing in return, it's not a friend. That's a leech. Okay? There's a big difference between, I have this friend Chris, who says, hey, can you hook me up with a ticket? I'll bring 10 people. Or, hey, can you hook me up with a ticket? Okay, well, why am I hooking up with the ticket? Well, because I don't want to pay. But you're my friend, and this is my business, and you should be supporting it, shouldn't you? Like, for example, I have a friend who runs a car dealership. I'm gonna go buy a car from him if I need a car, and I'm not gonna ask him to hook me up with a free car. Like, I know it sounds insane when you're going from, like, let's say a $50 ticket to a $50,000 car, but it's the same thing in essence, because I am trying as a business person to sell event tickets. They are trying as a business person to sell cars. And to ask me for a freebie with no value in return, that's a leech. That is not a friend. That is not somebody who respects what you do. That is someone who you have to assess your relationship with. That is someone who you should sit down with and say, why do you think I should give you a free ticket? What possible reason could I have? Well, because we're bros. Are we? Are we really? Because I'm going to tell you, if you're my bro, you're going to support what I do. You're going to want to see me be successful. And by giving out free tickets to you and then you telling people I gave you a free ticket, that's not helping my success. It's not helping my business. That's not helping me get any further in life. That's not a bro move. That's a leech move. So what I would say is with friends and freebies and comps, what you want to do is only comp out the friends that can provide value. Like my buddy Chris, who will bring 10 people if I give him a free ticket. I have no problem giving Chris a free ticket. Let's say I've got a $50 ticket. He brings 10 friends. He's putting $500 in my pocket. That's okay. I'm all right with that. That is an even exchange. That is a bro helping a bro. And it's the way it should be. Okay, next question. This is a good one. How do you deal with difficult talent? Well, I'm going to tell you, I turn into a shrink. I turn into a psychologist when I have difficult talent. So a good example of this is I had a hip hop artist who shall remain nameless, and he did not want to perform, and he was acting out. And to my people, he was being a dick, a straight up dick. There was no reason that I could see for him to be a professional and do your job. This is the first time I ever kind of took on the psychologist role. So he wouldn't leave his hotel. My team calls me, says, look, like the show is in a couple hours. This guy won't leave his hotel room. What do we do? We've tried reasoning with him. We've tried arguing with him. We've tried to talk to his manager. We've tried everything we can think of. Nothing's working. So I went to the hotel. I knocked on the door. I said, look, this is my show. I'm about to lose a lot of money. So I need to know what's wrong. What's going on? Why can't you perform? What's up? Turns out that he had a personal issue that came up while he was in his hotel getting ready for the show, and it bummed him out so bad that he couldn't function. So it turned out, okay, the personal issue, I don't think this will give away his identity because you don't have really much reference to go off of. The personal issue was that he found out his mom was sick with cancer. Very difficult thing to deal with. And he just shut down. I said to him, I was like, dude, look at this. Okay, here's the deal. You and I will end up having to fight for months in court and everything if you don't go on stage. And I understand where you're coming from. If I found out my mom had cancer, I would be a wreck too. But you're a rapper and you've got a lot of songs that make people feel happy. There are probably some people out there that they found out their mom has cancer, their family member they're sick, their girlfriend dumped them, whatever. They're here to have a good time, to lose themselves in your music for an hour or two. Maybe you should do the same. Lose yourself in your music. Use the music as the vehicle to be able to move forward. And maybe share your pain. Maybe dedicate the concert out to your mom. Make sure that she sees it and she sees how much you love her. You really just have to, when you're dealing with difficult talent, you have to figure out why they're being difficult. Because human beings generally, if it's their career, they're not difficult. They're not meaning to be difficult. They don't want to be difficult. They just are being difficult because something is happening in that moment. So the key to dealing with difficult talent is to figure out why they're being difficult and address that. Now, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's so bad that you got to cancel the show. But it's rare. Think of all the shows you've wanted to go to and how many of them have been canceled. You might have one, maybe two. Most of you probably have none. And that's because nobody wants to do that. Understand that even though this person is a celebrity or this person is, your main attraction for an event, understand they're still people too. We all have problems. We all have things that stop us from doing what we want to do. Just reach out, human to human level, and help them with their difficulty. Find out why the difficulty is happening. Find out what is wrong and try to address it. Now, if you can't, if there's nothing you can do, then you got to go to court. It's just the way it is. But in my experience dealing with talent, whether it be, speakers at a conference or it be, huge acts in arena shows or stadium shows, shit happens, man. And if you treat someone like a human being and you actually ask them just, what's wrong, man? Like, what's going on? Why? I don't understand. You were so cool up until now. So something had to change. The status quo changed. How can I help? That's how you deal with difficult talent. All right, last question. This one might be the most common question in event planning ever. Why are Ticketmaster's fees so high? Honestly, monopoly is the answer. Not the game, what they have. They have basically a stranglehold over 70% of ticket sales in the industry. And that means that they can do whatever the hell they want for the most part. Like, look at this. The Taylor Swift debacle happened. There's been tons and tons of issues that they've had. The TIFF festival, there's like probably thousands of examples of them screwing up or people coming at them for their high fees that are unnecessary. And they don't care. They don't fix anything. In fact, if they do, they raise them. They keep raising the fees. I saw a funny video about this, and Evan, let's play the video. Let's play the video about Ticketmaster fees. The guy that talks about them. So as you can see, I mean, obviously those are not the fees, but they kind of are the fees. Like, as somebody that runs an event ticketing website, an event management website, I can tell you that the vast majority of Ticketmaster fees are nonsense. I will say this though. There are fees that Ticketmaster and all of us pay. So we pay the credit card companies to process your credit card. We pay PayPal to process your account. We pay, all these fees to be able to process any kind of a payment. Just so you know, cheapest fees are if you pay with debit. So if you're paying for concert tickets and you're on a site like ours on INCREDEVENT.com, your fees will be less if you pay with debit. If a lot of them aren't honest and they just make all the fees a blanket fee, but that's a good rule of thumb. If you're on a website that has fair fees, use your debit card, your Visa debit or whatever you have for debit card. In Canada, you can use like a straight up debit card, but in the US, you can't do that. But so there's those fees. And then you got to remember it's a business, right? So businesses paying their people, paying for technology, paying for the build out, stuff like that. So there is a reasonable place for fees. At INCREDEVENT, we say it's 10%, no more. So we'll never charge more than 10% for fees on a ticket. But startups may startup ticketing sites may need a little bit more. They might need 20% or whatever. But the insane like 40% or whatever the hell it is that Ticketmaster is charging these days, a lot of the industry average seems to be around 22%. I mean, that should not be the average. The average should be around 10%. I'm not just saying that because that's our way of doing things. I'm saying that because that's how the math works for the consumer, for the planner, and for the platform. So what's up with Ticketmaster's high fees? They just have a monopoly and they can do whatever the hell they want. That's how they see it. Until Congress strips them apart and like breaks apart Live Nation and Ticketmaster and basically do what they did to Microsoft in the 90s. That's the deal, man. That's exactly how it's going to be. So we kind of have to live with it for now, but try to buy tickets on independent vendors, independent platforms as much as you can. Reach out to event planners and say, I will not go to your event if it's on Ticketmaster. You need to put it on INCREDEVENT or whatever, another platform that has fair fees. So I don't want to go too much into that because I don't want to be bashing my competition or anything. I just think the high fees in the ticketing industry are fucking stupid. Okay, like I'm with you guys. I cannot stand it. We have a basketball team in my city. The tickets are $15 and the fees are $14. Like, what the fuck, right? But again, I don't want to just completely bash my competition. Ticketmaster's got a lot going for them, and so does every other platform. We're all really trying to provide the best service we can. We just happen to at INCREDEVENT try to provide that for the fairest fee possible. Let's make concerts fun to go to. Let's make concerts not. The fee should not make the difference between somebody going to a concert or not. That's all I'm going to say. That's the last thing I'm going to say on the matter. And that's it. That's 5 questions from you guys. Thank you so much for asking them, for tuning in. If you like the podcast, if you're finding value from it, please give us a subscribe, a rating, a share, a like, a comment, whatever. Just show some love. We greatly appreciate it. And I will talk to you next time on Incredible Events Podcast.